There are specific rules pertaining to seat belts and child restraint that must be followed. Drivers and all passengers 13 years old and older must wear seat belts. Louisiana's seatbelt law is a primary law, meaning law enforcement can stop the vehicle and issue a ticket if they see the driver and/or passengers are not buckled up. The law applies to passenger cars, vans, or pickup trucks manufactured after January 1, 1981. The maximum fine in Louisiana is $50 for the first offense. Note: Louisiana's child restraint law was changed in 2019 to the following. Birth to 2 years, ride rear-facing in an infant or convertible child safety seat. 2 years and outgrown rear-facing seat, ride in a forward-facing child safety seat with an internal harness. 4 years and outgrown forward-facing seat, ride in a belt-positioning child booster seat using a lap shoulder seat belt. 9 years old or outgrown booster, ride restrained with a lap shoulder seat belt secured correctly on the vehicle seat. Younger than 13 years old, ride in the rear seat of a vehicle when available and properly restrained. When two vehicles approach an intersection at the same time, the driver on the left must yield to the vehicle on the right. While the law says who must yield the right-of-way to another roadway user, it does not give anyone the right-of-way. If other roadway users are not following the rules, let them have the right-of-way even if you feel you have it. You must yield the right-of-way to pedestrians at all times, even if they are not in a crosswalk and crossing the street where they should not be. You must stop for them. To emergency vehicles that are sounding a siren and flashing warning lights. To persons using a guide dog for the visually impaired or using a white cane with or without a red tip. To bicyclists at intersections. Circulating traffic in a roundabout and traffic circle before your vehicle enters traffic. When driving on an unpaved road that intersects with a paved road. When returning to the roadway after the car is parked. When entering a road from a driveway, alley, or roadside, you must yield to a vehicle already on the main road at yield sign intersections, at left turns. At uncontrolled intersections where vehicles are already in the intersection. At T intersections where you must yield to vehicles on the through road. And at controlled intersections and four-way stop intersections. Drivers must not drive faster than the posted maximum limit and must not drive slower than the posted minimum limit. Reduced speed limits are required in the following areas. On streets near schools and playgrounds and at locations marked with a school crossing sign when children are present. On streets in residential or business areas. Several Louisiana laws ensure safe driving and/or responsible use of the vehicle. Some of these include driving while intoxicated, or DWI. This law prevents drivers from drinking and driving. A person is guilty of DWI if he or she operates a motor vehicle under the influence of any controlled dangerous substance. Being convicted of DWI could result in penalties of 2 to 6 months in jail, a $1,000 fine, a 90-day license suspension, or the use of an ignition interlock device or EID. Implied consent. This law considers that every Louisiana license holder has agreed to submit a BAC test if requested. Test refusals result in an immediate license seizure and suspension. Open container. This law prevents the driver and passengers from having an open container of alcohol while driving. Violating this law could result in fines and penalties for the driver, even if he or she is not consuming alcoholic beverages. Post-collision procedures. Also called the Move It Law, reduces the risk of secondary crashes and restores the flow of traffic by requiring drivers to remove vehicles from the roadway to the nearest soft shoulder. Leaving the scene of a crash could result in being fined or sent to jail. Texting or cell phone usage. This law prohibits drivers from operating a vehicle while using a wireless telecommunication device to write, send, or read a text-based communication, including instant messages, email, and regular text messages. Access, read, or post on social media. Or engage in a call while in a school zone and during posted school hours. The first violation results in a $500 fine and the second or subsequent violation results in a 60-day license suspension and up to $1,000 in fines. Driving while fatigued or under duress or stress. While there are no specific laws against driving while fatigued or stressed, these conditions can still cause accidents. Drivers should be mindful of taking care of their physical, mental, and emotional health to prevent crashes. Emergency vehicles, also called the move over law, requires drivers to move to the right and remain stopped for emergency vehicles that have activated lights. You may not follow emergency vehicles with activated lights closer than 500 feet. If a person violates this law, he or she will be subject to a fine of $200. Multi-lane highways and left lane usage. This law encourages drivers to stay in one lane as much as possible to prevent crashes or hazards. On multi-lane highways, no vehicle should be driven in the left-hand lane except when directed otherwise. Preparing for a left turn at an intersection, private road, or driveway. Overtaking or passing another vehicle proceeding in the same direction. When right-hand lanes are congested, violators can receive a fine of $100 or be imprisoned for 30 days. Traffic control devices include traffic signals, signs, and pavement markings. Drivers must be able to recognize them immediately and obey all regulatory signs. Signs. Regulatory signs give notice of traffic laws or regulations, such as rules for traffic direction, lane use, turning, speed, parking, and other special situations. Markings. Lane markings indicate which part of the road to use, provide information about conditions ahead, and indicate where passing is allowed. Railroad crossings. Lane markings, warning signs, crosswalks, flashing lights, and gates are used in various combinations to warn drivers of an upcoming railroad grade crossing. Reckless or negligent homicide is the killing of another person through reckless or negligent behavior. Common examples of negligent homicide involve motor vehicle crashes that result in fatalities. It differs from other forms of homicide due to the implied lack of malice and intent. Negligent homicide is a misdemeanor that carries a prison term of up to 7 years. If an intoxicated driver causes the death, the charge upgrades to a felony. A felony conviction carries a 1 to 15-year prison sentence. Reckless driving is the operation of any motor vehicle in a criminally negligent or reckless manner. A reckless operation ticket is considered a misdemeanor offense and can mean hundreds of dollars in fines and or up to 90 days in jail for a first offense.